Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of That's Railroad, where we bring the railroad to you. And today we're going to ride a little track, and I'm going to show you what Amtrac of Maryland got tamped. And, they started right here at this turnout. So really appreciate you guys showing up today. Everybody likes to ride track. Then they started, they did the turnout back there, and then they started here on the other side of the bridge. I had made a short video and posted it a couple weeks ago of them actually tamping right here. A lot of coal in here. This is get a lot of coal spillage in this curve. It's curve 62. But I was not here that week, second week of vacation, that Amtrac and all the other guys were here. We had that shut down. I said I was at the I took that week off actually, and we went to the Mill Creek Central, and that was a really cool show, and you'll see videos of that. That was really enjoyable to watch. That 7 1/2 inch gauge track. Okay. So anyway, I had taken that short video of Amtrac in here last year. I also have some footage of a video of them tamping track from last year. And if you want to watch Amtrac of Maryland and tamp some track, then I'll put a link in this video's description so you can go watch that. It's curve 60. So yeah, you can go watch them tamp track from not this year, but the last year. All right, and we got some pretty nice track. What they did turned out really, really nice. Curve 60. This is 59 coming up. We have 16.8 miles of track here all told, and there are 70 curves. That's just insane. But that's what our founding fathers, U.S. Steel, gave us to work with. This is a private. This is Robina Hard Road Crossing coming up here at milepost 15.5. But this is a private crossing, and there's maybe 1 or 2 cars a day that go over it. And on the weekends, nobody goes over it except our mechanic, and he's back at the harbor shop. The gate is actually locked. Nobody can get in. So I got my excavator here. I was going to crib this. Like I said, I wasn't here. They did tamp it, and this is where we broke the rail, where I made that video on cutting rail with a hydraulic saw, cut-off saw. So they tamped a lot of mud in this under the ties, and made the track a little. In some places it stiffened it up, which needed it. In some places it made it softer, and it made it softer back there where that rail broke. Anyway, we'll get her cribbed out. It's a good project here for coming up. Get this whole tangent cribbed out. And when they were tamping, they also broke another rail up here. Right there. So we had to come up and replace that. It was a hot day when we did that. It was 90 degrees. Anyway, what happens is when they pick that rail up, it wants to, the rail wants to flex like this, and you get a weak spot in there that it breaks it. Camper salesmen used to say, "We don't charge you extra for finding weak spots in the rail." Okay. There years ago, we had taken this curve completely out and did it two different times, two different shutdowns. We took this curve completely out, bulldozed everything out, and started all over again. And that was probably 10 years ago, and it's held up really, really well since then. It looks really nice. That's the way to go if you got the time. It's just having the time to do it, and the resources. You got to be able to get a lot of rock hauled down to a curve when you bulldoze everything out, put it back. Back when they did it, they had 2 high rail dumps running, and then once they got the track back in, then we could dump it with our rock car. But after that, I think I tamped that curve 12 times before I got it right. But it was worth it. There was a lot of mud in that curve. This curve here has all been cribbed out. We did that 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. This whole curve got cribbed out. They way back in the past, they had a derailment here, loaded cars, and this curve got filled up with coal. It was a mess. Really, it's a pretty track now. Amtrac of Maryland does a very good job when they come in. We're very happy with their services. It's nice to see the company spending the money. There over 3 years ago, when Contour still owned us, Contour knew they were shutting the mine down, and they didn't spend any money at all. I made a video on that also. Where would you spend the money? And explained that situation to you. And there was no money at all. And just, if it broke, you fixed it. That's when it broke. Preventive maintenance went out the window. And it was very sad. Our track got in very bad shape. In fact, the train had come in down there at the harbor. I just shake my head and I say, how in the world did he make it? They sent that train out every time. It was like playing Russian roulette. And fortunately, we didn't have any serious accidents. I don't know how, but we didn't. Then in April, after our new owners took over in 2021, we had a derailment up there at curve 18. And the new owners decided we better spend some money on this track, on our transportation system. Well, duh, yeah. Doesn't this track look nice? So our new owners have been spending money. I said this last 8 day shutdown, they spent over $400,000 just on our track, which was made some much needed improvements. It's really hard. Now, right now, we had a track geometry system. I said this in another video. A track geometry truck in here that tested our track, and he said, well, that was a couple months ago, and he said he told me, Dave, he said, you know, this is one of the best jointed tracks he's ever tested. And very, very few geometry problems show up. A couple of them, and one of them up there at curve 7 did get taken care of. There's another one at curve 11 that's got a geometry, but it's not out of Code of Federal Regulation specs though, but it's not perfect. But it's got, curve 11's got a lot of mud to it also. All right. Coming up on Bridge 13. This goes over Route 88. Okay, I'm not going to ride the entire 6.5. Amtrac got 6.5 miles of track tamp, so I'm not going to ride the entire 6.5 miles. But what a lot of people have asked, what is this? That is a solar-powered Wayside flange greaser. Some people call them line side greasers, or instead of Wayside. But that's what that is. That greases the inside of the rail head. Helps eliminate wear on your, not only the rail through your curves, but it helps eliminate flange wear on your car wheels, and it helps to cut down on the what we call rail singing, the flange squeal of the flanges going through the curve. Okay, very good. You hold on here. You got a long tangent coming up, and I got to stop and make a joint correction. Here I got one joint that's got some couple bolts missing, so I'm going to fix that, and then we'll pick up out here on the a little bit later on down the track. All right, so don't you go anywhere. We'll take a little commercial break, and you I'm just kidding, but go get yourself a bag of popcorn. Put it on pause. All right, we'll be back. Okay, the 3 rails have gotten changed right here. Coming up on Bridge 12. That view never gets old. Milepost 13.5. So we got us a pretty nice track. Very happy with all in all, you know, we still got some problem spots. We still got mud. But all in all, our track is probably in the best shape that it's been, I know, in the last 3 years, but probably in the last 10 years, I'm going to say. So that's pretty, that makes my job a whole lot easier. And a lot less worries. Train operators are all happy. Everything rides pretty smooth. Like I said, we still got a few spots, and you have spots come in now and then. When you have jointed track like we do, and so many high degree curves, you're going to have problems. Problems just occur. But another thing they did, there was 4 rails that got changed here on this left side. Told you in the first video there in the series on what got done on, there was 33 sticks of rail got changed all told, which was a pretty good run. Working around the tie gang, working around the ditching gang, working around the bridge gang. We had a lot going on. Yes, if you ask, they did tamp right through this tunnel. It has a ballast floor in it. Doesn't have a car. Tunnel at 79 has a concrete floor. This has a ballast floor. Another thing I did not tell you, the other end of this from right here on out got re-gauged. It was pretty wide gauge. Right in here it was about 57.5. Typical normal gauge is 56.5. So that's getting pretty wide, and some of the spikes were starting to pull up. They used that product called Spike Fast, which is an epoxy. It's got 2 tubes, and they mix the epoxy together. We don't have any of that here. We use the Shore Spike for filling the plug holes, the spike holes. You pull the spike out and re-gauge your track, and then they filled that with that epoxy, and they tell me that epoxy holds really, really well. past milepost 13. We have class 2 track here, and the track speed is 25. But, a lot of people have asked, what do you do about brush control? Well, you can see we don't spray. Many years ago, this is in 1995, I believe. I wasn't on the full-time track. 18 years ago, I've been on the full-time track crew. But 18 years ago, we would come out on extra days. I was over the hill loading barges. At the time, if you had an extra day, you come out and work the track. And there was a whole lot of handwork got done on the track. Whole lot back then. And we were a whole lot younger too. But anyway, they wanted to spray the track, and we all got together, everybody that worked on the track. There was like 15 or so of us at the time. They had 2 track people, but like I said, the extra guys from down on the barges would work up there also, extra. A lot of mud in here. It's a long story. But they filed a safety grievance, and that safety grievance, because hey, we didn't want to work around. We'd be walking around that spray. So they said all vegetation removal will be mechanical. Anyway, we had a brush cutter in here 2 years ago, a KBR 925 brush cutter, and did both sides of our track, did the whole track. There's a link in the description if you want to watch that brush cutter working. We're not going to get it in this year. It's not available this year. It was a rental unit. That mud spot back there, I cribbed that out 3 years ago, and it was the first cribbing job I ever did with the excavator and that bucket I have for the excavator, and I didn't do a very good job. Plus, that area has such a hard time with water not wanting to drain away. It wants to drain into the track. So we got a lot of mud coming out, and I didn't crib very deep, just down to the bottom of the tie. And when you do that, you've got to come back and you've got to keep picking track up. And I neglected to get back there and get much tamping done on it, so a lot of the mud came back. So it's going to have to get cribbed out again. We did get some drainage issues solved there. This shut down. This is curve 49. I've got a playlist on curve 49 with all the work we did in here. This whole curve got cribbed out there a couple of years ago too. And I think we put 300 and some ties in here, plus all new rail here on the low side. And it's a beautiful track. It's held up really, really well. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed today's ride, and with some really nice track. Said it all looks good. Everything that the Amtrac did. So all right, we're going to get off of here, and I want to thank you very much for watching. And may you have a very good day. Okay.